Guys, I'm really not sure where I sit with this one. The Great War Western Front is the newest game from the respected but never quite hit enough home runs to be A-tier developer Petroglyph Games. Formed from some of the remnants of Westwood Studios, their first game, Star Wars Empire at War, was a slam dunk, and it's been enjoyed to this day like a fine aged wine. Unfortunately for Petroglyph though, they couldn't manage to reach those highs again, releasing quite a few just okay RTSs over the next 15 or so years. Though they were able to cause a bit of a stir with 2020's Command & Conquer Remastered, leaving some hope that they might one day get the chance of a fully fledged CNC RTS revival. But that's besides the point, because today we're checking out Petroglyph's newest game, one that they surely hope will be a knockout success. What I will now just be calling GWWF is a World War I turn-based and real-time strategy tactics game with influences ranging from Total War to Hearts of Iron to Company of Heroes and to their own Star Wars Empire at War. The current build is just a demo, and it's one that you can try for yourself right now during the Steam Next Fest. It's available within these dates, so if you're watching this during that time, I'd encourage you to give the game a shot for yourself. It releases in full on March 30th, so let me know if you're interested in a full review when the time comes. The demo is fairly expensive for what it is though. It'll take you a few hours to get through everything without rushing. Included is the tutorial, which has a few full turns available at the end for some limited campaign experience, and one of the game's playable historical battles. So, like I said in the opening, I'm not quite sure where I'm at with GWWF. There are aspects I like, and ones where I see potential, but there's also ones where I just don't know how they're going to stay engaging for 10, 20, 30 hours. As well as a lot of this demo being, frankly, quite boring. If this is meant to be an onboarding point to get people excited for the full release, I'm not sure it hits that mark. I was quite excited to give this game a crack before this, but now I'm 50-50 on whether I'll even review it on release. Maybe it's a me problem. Perhaps I had the wrong expectations in thinking GWWF would be more up my alley. Placing it on the Zade patent pending likeness meter, from where I'm sitting, this falls far more to the side of Hearts of Iron rather than Company of Heroes, which some people will surely be into, but maybe just not me. But not only that, there's also a fair helping of jank that's coming along with this build, as well as some pretty uninspiring graphical fidelity and some performance problems. Content-wise, again, this demo includes a 10-part tutorial as well as a historical battle to take part in, which in this case was the Second Battle of Passchendaele, which, being a New Zealander who's lived in Canada, is both a grim and prideful reminder of the realities of the First World War. The tutorial is where you'll be spending most of your time with the demo though, and like any good one, it aims to set you up and get you up to speed with how the game plays and how to utilise its myriad of mechanics and systems, of which there are many in GWWF. The problem is that the way it's delivered here is kinda painful. There's a lot of reading and not a lot of doing, but perhaps most importantly, there's no gradual expansion to the game's mechanics. Instead, it just runs you through a long list of how to play the game, with no nuance and a very complicated map that sits in front of you, which adds to the overall feeling of being totally confused. I found it overbearing to the point where it turned me off wanting to play the game, and I only really finished the tutorial by just forcing myself to do so. The fact that you can see all this stuff, knowing that you need to learn it, is stressful, and I wish they'd found a way to slowly and gradually unlock and visually segment new mechanics as you play through it. The game is split into two parts, not unlike Total War. There's the turn-based overworld, where you command and control your armies and logistics, and the real-time battle section, where you, well, fight the enemy. GWWF is pitched as a game of attrition, one where you can lose the battle to win the war, so to speak, or perhaps the opposite could be true too. Winning a minor victory may indeed seem like a good thing, but are the losses and depletion of your force's will to fight worth those few inches of ground gained? There are many mechanics that lead into this idea of an overarching objective, where the individual battles aren't as important as how your nation is faring outside of them. Things like negotiating ceasefires, keeping morale high, and ensuring a victory is worth the cost are all intriguing ways GWWF differentiates itself from other games that I've played. I found the real-time battles the most interesting as I was fascinated to see how Petroglyph would translate World War I into an enjoyable gameplay experience. And what they've done here is quite novel, and it's not like many other RTSs that I've tried before. A lot of it is of course based around trench warfare, but you've also got access to artillery fire, air support, tanks, balloons, and specialist troops to assist your frontline units to do whatever it is that they need doing. Whether it be holding the line against an enemy onslaught, or becoming said onslaught to capture a hostile position. I'm not exactly sure how Petroglyph are going to keep this interesting throughout an entire game, but I'm sure they've got their ways and I'm intrigued to see what they do with it. I reckon it's the overworld map though that players will find most rewarding, and that's where I personally bounced off a bit. I enjoyed the overworld in games like Total War because the reward of managing it well are those exhilarating and strategic real-time battles. I don't enjoy games like Hearts of Iron because it's all overworld, and GWWF gives me those vibes. Especially because there's a decent amount of jank when you're fighting on the ground. Firstly, I was a little disappointed with the visual fidelity here, and now look, I'm not expecting AAA levels of quality, but when you've got tiny indie studios putting out games like Rat and Reich and Manor Lords, seeing GWWF's low quality environments and special effects, janky aircraft, and groups of little men all scrunched up and disappearing without warning kind of feels like I've travelled back in time a bit. It doesn't help that performance was just okay for me too. I experienced quite noticeable frame dips at times during the real-time battles, and the menu is strangely unresponsive at times. I know it's a demo, but this game is due to launch in, less than 2 months, and from where I'm sitting it could really do with some more time in the oven. I think Petroglyph have done some interesting things here, I do. The setting is a tough one to translate into a strategy game, but the depth of the overworld gameplay is promising, and the real-time battles do bring some unique mechanics and a setting that isn't often seen in games nowadays. I do however think that I came at GWWF with the wrong expectations, and maybe the reason that I bounced off this demo is that it's just not for me. I'm hopeful that Petroglyph can improve performance and maybe give the graphics a bit of an uplift in time for the full release, and I will try and give the game a fair shot when that time comes. Maybe the tutorial will be different. Maybe I'll find enjoyment in historical battles, or a full untethered campaign that starts at the beginning of the war rather than the end of it. We'll just have to wait and see. But if you've played the demo, then I'd really like to hear your thoughts on it. Have you enjoyed your time? Did you find the tutorial stale? Am I totally off base here? Please, leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching. Big thanks to my patrons who support me. You guys are bloody awesome and I can't thank you enough for what you do. If you'd like to join, then you can do so for just $1 a month, which comes with access to the Discord server where we play games and chat about games. It's all about games, really. You'll join legends like Aero, Crizzy218, George Rain, Jack Walsh, Nutty Jawa, Overlord Jeebus, T-Edits, Crispy Robo Chicken, XV204, Benjamin Howard, Dakayo, David DeBoli, Nintendo, Bad Ghosts, Sean Weber, Johnny Woof, and Strategia in Ultima, who is a bit of a legend and has joined me at the Paladin tier. So thank you very much, man, and Johnny, you know I appreciate you. Oh, and also just coming in at the 11th hour here, I'm literally about to render this video, but old Eric came in at the Paladin tier, which is hugely appreciated, man. You got on just in time, and there will be a post out soon for a question for the next video. So thanks, man. Truly appreciate it. You guys keep me alive out here. And again, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.